Family, how you guys doing? I hope that you guys are having an amazing day. Now in this video, I will be discussing how to gain overnight success and what that looks like in different niches, because it does look different. I hope that you guys get a lot of value out of this video. Now, this clip was taken from the Without Filters podcast. I was gracious enough to be on their podcast. So if you want to watch the full video, I'll link it down below. Their content is super dope. So make sure that you check it out. Now, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, hello, my name is Antonio Williams. I am a digital marketing consultant and I help entrepreneurs dominate social media and find their ideal customers. So if that is you, if that is content that you're interested in, make sure that you check it out because it is super dope. So make sure you subscribe and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. But I've talked long enough. Let's get into the clip.
Yo, so okay, we got Antonio here, Antonio Williams. Again,
Hey,
this
yes.
man, very versed in social media marketing. And I watched one of your videos.
Okay.
Subscribe to Talking with Tonio on YouTube. Man,
Please.
drops bombs. Even like stuff that's like not really, I see certain the title. I was like, okay, is it Amex card? Like, I'm watching those videos because every video I've watched, I've gotten something from somewhere in there. It's like, oh, I kind of feel like I know about that. Then you realize, dang, I didn't really know about that, right? So check them out. But one of your videos, you were really tackling the thought of like people being worried about overnight success, right? Like a lot of people pretty much, when they start their Instagram, there's a lot of people who go into their YouTube channel and their Instagram channel thinking like, I'm going to go hard at this. And then like a month later, they're like, this ain't getting nowhere. Like now I got 10 subscribers, if that, you know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that, like what they're doing wrong, the ways you need to approach it. But like a lot of people are working towards that, like, oh, this other person just popped off. You know what I mean? Like they made a YouTube and everyone launched onto it. Like, so this thought of overnight success, like if you could dive in a little bit to us, right? And one thing I really want to focus on in before you start is like, one thing that really made me think about this was people who buy like fake followers. I know so many people on Instagram that you could tell that person who's got, I had someone message me a few days ago. I won't shout out the account.
Okay.
But they had 34.7 thousand followers and said, hey, we're doing concerts on IG. Like if you could tap into our IG live, do a little concert on Instagram. Like we really appreciate it. It's for this cause. Right. And you know, if you can't do it, you can pre-record something, send it to us. So when you get a message from someone you don't know, it actually tells you at the bottom how many followers they have, right? So I read this whole thing and I look down and I'm like, dang, 30, 34.
It's lit.
What's up? Yeah, like this could be something. Like maybe they stumble, like dead giveaway when like you get this message from someone about anything and like they didn't follow you. Number one, like you probably don't care that much about what I do, right? But I click on the page and like 34.7 thousand followers or whatever, and 20 views, 30 views, 16 likes, 8 likes.
That's
like
tough.
Like
It doesn't make any sense.
you don't have it's almost impossible. Like it's there's no way that you didn't buy these followers, right?
Yep.
So like, what is your response to people? And my whole thought is this has to gear towards maybe some misleading thoughts of like what this does for you, but also people who want the overnight success and like trying to cut corners.
Yeah, so I'll get to so essentially what they're doing is trying to manufacture social proof, which social proof is a real thing, right? We buy things or we interact with things because other people like it. It's just a natural human thing. However, I think the issue with buying likes or buying followers or buying whatever, for one, you have no real engagement, you know, and now, especially with social media platforms, everything is based on engagement, which means how long does your profile keep that particular person on our website because they're engaging with your content. That in turns drives that platform to, let's just say, YouTube. You know, now they used to just do straight views, but now it's based on watch time. So how long a particular person watches a video, you know, YouTube will start promoting your your videos or your channel because they notice, okay, it's a 10-minute video. All these 100 people watched 8 minutes of it. Let me try to show it to another 100 people and let's see what happens, right? And if those 100 people still watch 8 minutes, oh, well, let me try another. Like, so, when you kind of try to manufacture likes or views or anything like that, you're really only hurting yourself more so than, helping. Now, I will say with a platform like Instagram, it makes a little more sense to buy followers or likes, but then you're in the rabbit hole of you will always have to do that. Like when you post, so to make it look authentic, you're always going to be buying likes for the rest of your platform, because if not, it's going to look really weird that all your other posts had 10,000 likes and now there's one post only has 100.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because even though like you bought, 1,000 followers or whatever, 10,000 followers, eventually you will get some organic growth from that because people are like, oh, okay, cool. Every picture he gets 1,000 likes or 2,000 likes or whatever. I'll follow this account. But then once you stop, you'll realize how many people are like really following your account. And then people are going to be like, oh, so you faked it the whole entire time. So like you're a slave to always liking or always buying comments or always, and most people, you can't keep it up. You just can't. Yeah. I mean, it sucks, but eventually you'll get to the point to where it just doesn't. And then too, you're not, if you're doing it for business purposes, you're not making any money. You're only losing money. So what's the point? And then that goes back to the step 20 thing, right? Because I could easily buy followers and likes and comments, but then people will think I'm on step 20. And now I have to provide a step 20 value that I really don't have.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? I really don't have that, but since I manufactured it, that's what people assume now. That is the assumed perception. And then once they start to work with me, oh, you really don't know what you're talking about. I thought you were on step 20. You're on step 5. Why am I here? You get what I'm saying? So then you just added way more pressure to yourself than what you, instead of it naturally happening, now you just added all this pressure for no reason.
Well, what's a realistic view in that? Like, so, because like I'm saying, I know you've, and at the end of the day, I watched the video, so I'm not, but for the people listening, like, what's a realistic view towards growing a following and the concept of overnight success?
Well, I think it looks different for everybody. I think there's people that, especially when it comes to social media and YouTube and like other platforms, right? A lot of people come into the platform with skill sets that they already have. So if you're somebody that, has a background in, I don't know, broadcast journalism and you're on YouTube, you've already been on camera for 4 or 5 years or 6 or 7 years, and your content should be naturally better starting off than someone that starts from scratch. So it may take you 6 months to 8 months because you're already very, very good at what you're doing, and you've already have, your whatever type of content that you're creating, you already know how to resonate with the audience. You already have the skill set of understanding videography and photography. Like, you already understand copywriting. You already understand, like, there's so many other things that people don't realize are skill sets, right? When it comes to social media, and marketing and all these other things. So that could be 8 months or it could be 6 years. It really just depends on the market. The market determines whether or not you're successful or not and how long that takes, and how people gravitate to you in whatever season we're in is different too. Because maybe if you would have started 3 years ago, you would have blew up in 8 months. Or now, because you started right now, that timeline may look different. So like people that are now like for me in my business, right? And me and J Mike were having this conversation. Think about it for churches that had no idea of what a live stream was.
Exactly.
Think about everybody that had no idea the importance of, internet marketing or online business. Yep. Right. They know now.
They get it now.
They're starting to do research now. Right. So this, maybe in the next couple of months, I may blow up because of just the season that we're in, that people are like, ooh, I need this information. Who are these people that are offering this information? I need this, right? But what about if I would have quit 2 years ago? Right. And I didn't see 2020 happening.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so everyone's time and season looks different based on when you start. So I tell people like, hey, it could take 6 months. It could take 5 years. It could take 4 years. I think a realistic, though, I think timeline is if you're consistent, you know you're doing your work, you have high value content. I'm thinking a 2 to 3 year time frame is normally when I think most people will start to see the fruits of their labor if the market is, you know, in a good space to where what you're offering people actually want. Because there are a lot of things that where, you know, it just doesn't look the same. You know, maybe for me, you know, in my space, 100,000 subscribers is me being successful versus me being a comedy channel, right? 100,000 subscribers, I'm trash. You know what I'm saying?
You need more than that.
Yeah, you need more than that. But the ceiling for everyone's market is different. So you can't base your ceiling, you know, or potential on another ceiling. You get what I'm saying? You know, so like for me, if I had a furniture, you know, YouTube channel, I may only, the ceiling for that, the person that has the most subscribers in furniture YouTuber could only be 100,000. So if I'm at 20, I'm successful.
I'm doing good.
I'm doing great. You get what I'm saying? Because that's the ceiling. The ceiling is only 100,000. I got 20,000. I'm great. But if I look at somebody that just got on YouTube 6 months ago and they got 1 million subscribers, I'm gonna feel terrible. But their lane isn't my lane. Like the finance and business lane is way different. Or like the tech. You know, like what's my Unbox Therapy?
Oh, yeah.
Millions of subscribers. That's not I'll probably never have that because we're not in the same lane. You know what I'm saying? Or like card, you know, YouTube channels, like it's different. Your ceiling is different. Entertainment, like family YouTube channels are different. Like, so I think we have to stop comparing ourselves to other channels and start really comparing the people that are in your space or in your market and see where you land within that. And that I think will give people a different perspective of what success looks like because you can't compare it. Like it's just not the same.
Yeah, one thing that gets me, a conversation we had in the past that was like blew my mind that I didn't even know, but you were telling me about Kev on Stage and how a lot of people, like everyone kind of knows, a lot of people know who Kev on Stage is at this point.
Right now.
But yeah, right now, but they've completely missed the grind of what happened to the point where I remember like you were just like, watch this. And you went to his YouTube and were able to see.
Took 10 years.
Yeah. 10 years of, and you like, I think you showed me like how many days it's been in 10 years and how many videos he had within that 10 years. And it was almost one video a day
for 10 years straight.
For 10 years straight. Like, so, but to someone else, you don't know who Kev on Stage is. Then the next day you do. So to you, it's overnight success. Like, how do you speak to that mentality? Like, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's hard to stop. Like, but looking at those type things, it gives you some insight to like, just because you didn't know the grind was happening for 6 years, just because you didn't know, like, this person is, especially certain people. Who's the woman you referenced in the video?
I think it was what is her name? Yeah, Tabitha Brown. That's who it was.
Yeah. Because you were saying, what were you saying about her again?
So like for her story was like she's been doing, you know, her is a perfect example of overnight success, right? Because she kind of explained it. It was like you guys. She was saying like everyone knows me now, but like I've been doing, you know, what she's been doing for 10 years, and then it just literally one day I was a household name.
Right.
Like everyone knew my family, everybody knew everything, everybody loves my videos. But literally 3 months ago, no one knew me.
Nobody knew who I was.
No one knew who I was. But if I would have quit, I wouldn't be in this space that I'm in right now. But it took me 10 years to be an overnight success in 3 months.
Right. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. Like overnight can be overnight, but at the same time, like that work. If they would have started, the day before that night, it wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So that's the craziest thing where it's like, man. If anything, because it's got to be hard to push through. I understand that on a lot of levels. It's just hard to push through, especially like what level-headed person doesn't reevaluate after 4 years? You know, what level-headed person doesn't sit back and say,
absolutely,
it's been 7 years. I've been doing this. Like, I get that I believe in myself. I get that I have people around me who believe in me. But like,
I'm not seeing
this is not it. Like, maybe I need to go back to school. Like, what kind of level-headed person doesn't think that? But like, so what separates even? Because I think that's for me, I think that's a level-headed thought after a certain amount of time.
Correct.
Like, so what would you speak to that time? Like from 7 years to 10 years, overnight success. I know it looks like 10 years, man.
It's a long time.
Like, I know it has to look different for different people. Like, obviously, no one game plan, but what do you speak to like that time period?
Well, I think so. I'll speak for myself. I think right now, like, you change. So, when I first started, my first YouTube channel was back in 2011, right? It's 2020. Yet I'm still on YouTube, but I feel like for me, and I tell people all the time, like, I was still figuring it out. Like I've been trying to figure out who I was as a person, right? Me at 18 is not the same person I am at 28, right? But through that time frame, I figured out where I'm at now. And my next 10 years is going to be drastically different from my previous 10 years, right? And so I think, I don't know her story like verbatim, but I think a lot of times, like if you know what your purpose is, your vehicle may look different. The vehicle in which you take during that time may change, right? You know what I mean? But if you know that this is your purpose, right, at the end of the day, that's your purpose, and you should never deviate from that.
Yes, sir. Come on.
So, I mean,
drive your lane.
Yeah. So, I mean, even for me, and we go back to like social proof, right? So for me, like the majority of people that followed my Instagram, 10 years ago, or even the past 5 years ago, was all drummers. So they don't like the same, like if you look at my stuff, like the normal thing is like 10%. So I have 2,000 followers. I probably get, depending on, what I post, probably 100 to 150 range, pretty consistently, right? And you may see that and be like, oh, that seems a little light. But I also understand from a more marketing standpoint that the majority, if not 80% of the people that followed my Instagram when I first started my Instagram are musicians. And so if I post a drum video and I would probably get way higher engagement. Or me posting like, me on a set or something like that, I'll probably get way more, views or even likes. But I know like that's until they understand, okay, this is my vehicle now, my vehicle is this, then you'll start to see those engagement rates become higher. But I also understand, like, I know that I just fed people 8 years or 9 years of, drums, and then now I'm into marketing.
And they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, like that's not what I signed up for. But my next 8 to 10 years, hopefully when I get to the 10,000 or even more, my percentages will start to look more correct on what they should be. So you can't always look at something at face value all the time, and think like, oh, they probably bought followers, because now some is just obviously true,
right.
But then sometimes, people are not serving the same, content base or the same, demographic as what they once was. And I thought about like just completely redoing my Instagram and stuff like that, but I was like, I didn't really think there was a purpose. I think, for the people that support me and support the change. I think the people that don't now, Instagram has, they have least shown now in the analytics, like, people that are least likely to engage with your content and all that type of stuff. So I think the algorithm is different too now. So I don't know. So it's just different, man. But I think if you know your purpose, you know what you're supposed to do, like, hey, I don't think, just because you're not seeing it now doesn't mean it won't ever happen. But I can tell you for sure, if you quit, it will never happen. And like my thing is, and then what I tell other people too is like, what is your alternative? Like if you quit or you give up, what is your alternative? Like,
and most times that answer is nothing.
Nothing. There's no alternative.
So you might as well just keep going.
Keep going.
You might as well keep going.
Yeah. There's no, like, for me, like I believe in generational wealth. I believe in making sure that generations of my family is good. And I know the only tangible way to do that is to create my own. There's no way to do that working for somebody else. Not to say there's any issue with working with somebody else. Not to say that's bad if that's what you want, but I know what I want,
for you.
And I know for what I want, this is the only way, is through ownership. And I think, again, the CEO or young entrepreneur and like I'm getting money and all that's been overly romanticized too, right? But from a real like wealth building conversation, there's no other way to really do it other than ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you own something that is yours, you now, and granted, the market determines how much money you can make or how many followers or whatever, and then your actual ability to, perform whatever your product or service is, right? But I think at the end of the day, like, if you want to have these certain things that I want, ownership is the only way.
No, I think that's really good, and I think when you start something like that, it's people really, like I said, it's also the false idea of something. So people start to feel the hurt of like being business owners. I know, like, think about what's happening right now.
Oh, it's
in this
not
time,
cool.
it's COVID.
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not cool. People going hungry, dog.
Yeah, people are very surprised. Like, oh man, I can't believe that this business would like go out of sale. Like, I'm not go out of business. Like, what I mean, with what's going on, like they were popping. Like you didn't realize. Like to you, it was in your thought, like. You could walk in there at any time, get a burger. Whenever you went in there was a good amount of people in there. Like in reality, their lease costs this much. They pay out this much for having the chefs and having the servers and having they aren't taking home all this money. Like they have to pay so much money. So once you find yourself in a position where like you're the person who's like feeling the hurt behind the scenes, like even if it's something as simple as a podcast, like man, you're the person who understands how much time goes into the setup, into the people, into the whatever, and then like say like 4 years in, all that setup time, all this, and you're feeling that weight of like, man, I'm not where I think I should be, and I bought all this equipment, I've got all this, I got all this that, like
it's not
like
easy.
this is costing me money, you know what I mean? Like so, I totally agree, but at the end of the day, the payout is much more. For, like you said, generations to come, if you can stick to it and become successful in it, rather than if you were successful as someone else's manager, you know what I mean, or someone else's, like, helping someone else get money, the payout is always going to be much less.
Family, I hope that you guys got a lot of value out of this clip. Let me know down below what was your favorite part. I would really, really like that feedback. And if you haven't thumbs up the video, make sure that you thumbs it up because it just lets me know that you like the content that I am creating. And then if you haven't downloaded my free ebook called The YouTube Hustle, pretty much it helps you turn your YouTube channel into a money-making machine. So you definitely want to make sure that you download that ebook. It will definitely help you out. But without further ado, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be easy.